Three, hopefully two, one. Aha! Here we are. Podcast again. Jordan.
Beautiful. Gotta love it.
Gotta love it, right?
Yeah.
Man, you know what? Okay. We haven't been getting like a bunch of success so far because we haven't posted many videos, you know. But
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting like a wholesome amount of success, you know.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of support from family and friends, which is
Yeah,
fantastic.
and surprisingly
Um,
teachers too. For me
yeah,
at
I've
least.
had like some people reach out that people I don't really know,
Uh huh.
like people maybe that I went to school with, but I never really talked to them, reaching out and
Hmm.
saying that they really enjoyed the first episode, which is always nice to hear.
Yeah.
So I think we have a kind of an obligation to follow it up with some great episodes for the next few, and then after that we can tank. You know, would have to be would have to be good after that. Just the first few have to be good.
The first few have to be good, and then we can just.
Yeah, I think Gary Vee once said something about like it was in reference to restaurants. He said like if you can get people to come back to your restaurant 3 times and you have a lifetime customer, well, I think as long as the first 3 episodes of the podcast are fantastic, then we'll have the viewers for the rest of our lives. So
Yeah. Well, Jordan, what a week we had. You know. Oh wait,
yeah.
first, one sec. Let me just say this. Welcome to I Can't Do Anything in Moderation podcast hosted by me, myself, Ryan Osborne. This is my co-host right here. This is my co-host Jordan Malachi Jesudas, you know, or Joe Malachi, or dipshit, as I like to say
The
sometimes.
OG.
The OG, Jordan. I feel like in recent times I have called you either an idiot or a dum dum or a dumb ass more often than you have called me. Which before you graduated, that role was really flipped.
Yeah. Well, I think now that when I was in high school, I had a leadership role in the band, so I had like an obligation to be like a somewhat decent person. But now that I'm like not affiliated with the high school band anymore, and I'm not like a section leader or brass captain,
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of like do whatever the fuck I want, and it leads to me doing some stupid stuff. Like
And there goes Johnny P. But you said,
yeah.
but
Oh yeah, sorry Johnny if you're listening, but yeah, like, I think like one of the dumbest decisions I've made about a month ago, which it was probably deciding to date a girl that lives in Vegas. That's a lot of so my car has 195,000 miles on it already, and I take my car to Vegas every time I go out there. And on my most recent trip, I was heading out to Vegas, and it was all good. Had a great time. Went to Outback Steakhouse, had some fantastic steaks, and then right afterwards, we built some Legos. Which, by the way, Legos are. I haven't played with Legos since I was maybe about 12. Legos have come a long way, absolutely amazing. But that's for later. We'll talk about that later. But on my way back from Vegas, I got maybe like a couple miles down the freeway, and I got a flat tire. And I'm like, what? I was like, this is. I was just mind boggled because I just filled my tires with air before I left California. So I was like, okay. So I pulled over, went to change the tire, and the entire inside of my tire was missing, like just shredded, and it was all in my wheel well. The tire was completely destroyed, and I'm not trying to blame this on my girlfriend, by the way. If she's listening, which she probably is, don't think that it's your fault. It's not. It's no, seriously, like I was like so upset that the tire was destroyed. I was like, how did this happen? Well, the sway bar link on my car, which is part of the suspension for the car, broke, and it dragged through the inside of my tire, completely destroyed it. I don't know how long it was broken for, but I didn't notice until the tire went flat. So I had to stay. I was on my way home from Vegas. I had to stay an extra night, which wasn't completely terrible, but I had to stay an extra night, and then I had to call off of work. I had to pay like $180 to have the car fixed in Vegas, and then when I got home from Vegas, I had to pay like another $100 to get a new tire. That was fun. Love spending money on my car. So
it is a project car.
It's a project car.
aka your
I-
main car that you want to put a supercharger in.
yeah, basically it's my daily drive. It's a car that I daily drive, and I want to race it out. We're going full race suspension, race exhaust,
Jordan,
supercharger.
literally, I am your consultant when it comes to like most of your decisions on this car, and 90% of the stuff that you ask me about is like, it's, I feel like a secretary that's like sitting in the room and like has to like deal with their boss's ideas, and like half the stuff they say is just no, no, no. I'm like just typing
Yeah,
there, just like, what if, okay, just hear me out. What if I get an entire fast food menu and wrap my car in that? And I was just like, what, Jordan? And you were just like, it's a great idea, right? And I
no,
was
I
just
think
like,
I have a white car, so imagine if I had like an In-N-Out wrap on my car
okay, that would be fire. Not gonna
with
lie.
like the red palm trees.
Yeah, I know, but like, are you sponsored by In-N-Out though? That's the main thing. That's the main
Not
thing.
yet, not yet. I'm
Okay,
not.
yeah.
In-N-Out, if you're listening, you want to sponsor the podcast, we'd
Dude,
love to have this. Who's the
listen.
CEO of In-N-Out? I'm gonna look that up.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Who is the CEO of In-N-Out? But seriously, if In-N-Out
Um,
wants to sponsor us, we have one that looks like we would definitely.
Lindsay Snyder. Okay, Lindsay Snyder. If you're listening, I would absolutely love if you came onto the podcast for an episode, brought us some In-N-Out. We could talk about your fantastic business.
And
If you're not listening, then sucks to suck, I guess.
yeah, you
You're missing out.
if you aren't listening to moderation, then it's not what's up. People who listen to
Speaking of
moderation.
listening, if you're listening currently, you should definitely share this video, like the video, get us some views.
Yeah. And what he meant by
That's what
if
we
you're
care about, is
listening,
views.
and what he meant by listening, if you are actually watching on YouTube, then share the video on YouTube with your friends, because when you're listening to us on Spotify, there is no video. But if you're listening on Spotify, thank you very much. Really do appreciate all 73 of you. Actually, I think our total viewer count, I think, is like 35, 40 people right now. So all 40 of you, we really do appreciate you. And surprising, Jordan, we have a weird amount of people who listen to our podcast from Dallas. Texas.
I don't know anyone in Dallas.
Me neither.
Actually, I think my grandpa Moses might be from Dallas. But I know he's not listening to this podcast. I know for a fact he's not.
I mean, yeah, we're promoting this on social media, and I don't think Grandpa Moses has social media.
Oh, he does.
He does? Wait, what?
Yeah, he does. Actually, his daughter, she's technically my aunt. She has social media as well. She follows me on Instagram. So who knows? Maybe they are listening.
I have known you for 4 years. The Grandpa Moses joke has been a thing for all 4 of those years. How the hell have I not known that Grandpa Moses has social media?
I don't know. He doesn't really use it, but he has me on Facebook, and he likes to send me sketchy links on Messenger. It's the sketch. You would think his account got hacked.
Didn't you
Like
get
it's
a
like
sketchy
those
link
types of
from your
links.
grandma? And it was like a link to
Oh yeah. No, my grandma sent me
COVID-19
an
and
email
Trump after the
recently.
whole thing happened or something like that. I don't know.
No. She sent me an email lately, recently. I think it was a few days ago, and it was a link,
right.
and
I
the
remember.
the subject of the email just said a message from the niece of Osama bin Laden, and that was it. And it had it had the sketchiest link I've ever seen.
I was
And
on
I
call
was
with
just
you one time, and you were like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "What?" And you're just like, "A message from the niece of Osama bin Laden." And I was like,
At the very bottom of the email was a picture of the Norton Security logo, and next to it, it said this link is virus free. But you could tell it was totally fake. I clicked the link anyways. It was a really stupid article. I don't even remember what it was talking about. It just didn't make any sense. But
I think you're.
don't click links if you don't know where they're from. It's
You're-
a stupid thing that I did. Don't do it.
I believe what you said in your very, very summarized version of it was that Osama bin Laden's niece said Americans were not grateful about everything, and then they should just like Trump. And then I was like,
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was
just-
about
it
she
was-
was saying that Americans are very ungrateful for the freedoms that we have, and she's basically saying that it was really political thing, but
Political
she was
BS.
saying that she thinks the left is pushing for like stronger government, which is going to limit our rights, and she thinks that they shouldn't be doing that.
Mm.
Does she live in the U.S.? I don't even know.
I have no clue. Let's stray away from politics right now because we are a funny podcast. But
Yeah, no, I don't want to get into politics,
let's
but
not
I
get
just
into
thought it was
politics.
hilarious.
But it was really funny because you ended up reading it to us. I just remember that. But today, literally, okay. So I had work today. Me and you had work today.
Yes.
And as you guys, I've already talked about this. I work at a taquito place near my house.
Oh, really quick, if you don't mind me interrupting. On the first episode of the podcast, you called Rubio's a Mediterranean grill.
Uh-huh.
It's Baja Mexican.
I thought it's a little coastal Mediterranean. I'm stupid, I guess.
I don't think so. It's
literally-
like coastal Baja Mexican. That's
Oh
what
wait,
it
it's
is.
Rubio's Coastal Grill. I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen, man, if I offended anyone by saying Rubio's was a Mediterranean grill, my
You
bad.
offended me.
I offended you?
Yeah, I was slightly upset. In fact, if you go back and watch the video, when you say that, I make like a weird face. I don't think anyone caught it, but
You ended up catching it. You rewatched the video, and
yeah,
you were just
I
like, "Wait,
rewatched
did
the
this fool
video,
really just
and
say
I was
Mediterranean?
like,
This uncultured swine just called my frying fish tacos Mediterranean."
yeah, I was like, buddy, fish tacos aren't Mediterranean, but all right, I just let you roll with it.
Listen, man. Okay. Listen, okay. I might be a little uncultured, but I'm half white.
That's true. That is true.
All right, I'm half white. Okay. Sometimes the half Mexican comes out, but that's very rare considering my grandparents and my entire Mexican side is completely whitewashed.
Same over here.
Like, you've met my family. You have seen how my aunt does not sound Mexican at all. She is literally she is a short, pale, she has pretty pale skin. She's a fair skin, I say. She has a short, pale skin who has a very high pitched voice. She's like, "Hello." Like, she has a very high pitched voice, and she's really into comic books and the show Community, which is a really good show. And yeah, she's okay. I'm actually just gonna talk about this now because I think it's a pretty good idea. So I consider myself raised by the three siblings, aka my mom, my uncle, and my aunt. Okay, my mom worked a lot when I was little, so I would always be babysat by either my uncle or my aunt. My aunt would take me to like the library, buy me comic books and whatnot, and she got me into all the nerdy stuff, and she regrets it to this day. She literally any time, like, she was just like, yeah, I got him. It's like, she would be talking to her friends, and like I would just like be having conversations about like superheroes and comics or whatnot, or like video games, and she was just like they would like, these are her nerdy friends and whatnot. Like, she would be like, they're like, "Hey, this kid actually knows his stuff. You did a good job, Stephanie." He's just like, "Yeah, he turned into a geek." Damn it. Like, she literally, like, she always does that without, she's like, "I regret it." Like, she's like, "You weren't supposed to turn into a geek, Ryan. What the like." And then my uncle, he's the person who ended up teaching me like my more like sarcastic side, how I can mentally destroy people with my words. He's the dude who, like, when a kid comes up to me, like, there's another story that I will get into some other time, but I just made him really, really mad. He tried to fight me, and it just did not work well, because I would just make him even more mad. He ended up storming out of line, and this is all because he cut me in the cafeteria. He just was like, because he thought he was a smartass, and he was just like, "Don't you hate being cut in line?" And I was just like, "Oh, you fucked with the wrong dude today." And it just destroyed. And then my mom, she's my mom. She taught me like all the basic stuff, like how to cook eggs, make macaroni and cheese, boil water.
Taxes.
My grandpa actually taught me how to do taxes, and I did not understand a thing because I was 8 years old.
It's actually not that hard. It literally tells you how to do everything on the tax form. It literally says, like, this line is this. Now add this line, and that is how much you pay. It's so easy.
I feel like taxes just freak people out because no one ever talks about them, and then they're just like, they get that, and then they ended up doing it.
The form looks extremely scary, but you only actually have to fill out like 4 lines. Like, for the average person who works one job, like, you only have to fill out 4 of like the 600 lines that are on the paper.
I think people are just
And like,
okay. Now that you revealed that to me, I feel like they get the exact same feeling that I had when I was filling out like my tax form for like my first job, which was
yeah,
I don't understand words, but I just see write down name. Okay.
yeah,
So that was one. I feel like that's what happens, and then like especially with people considering like no school talks about that, then they're just like all these first time like homeowners or like people breaking out, moving away from their parents' house, and they're just like, oh, taxes. What is this? I am 18 years old and I have not paid taxes before. And so yeah, like I was raised by those three people, and my mom is named. I can actually not gonna go into that. I'm not gonna do that. But she has a very white name. I'll just say that. But yeah, my mom is very whitewashed. You know, she has a Brooklyn accent, and it's very subtle. But I always make fun of her for it because one day when I was like 12, she ran into the garage while I was getting garlic bread because we were making spaghetti, and it was like the frozen like Texas toast garlic bread, you know. And she comes running in to the garage, swings the door open, looks at me, points at me like she's buoying my ass, and she just goes, "Do you even know what you're looking for? Huh? Come on, kid. Get your shit together. What are you doing? Come on. Are you looking for the right thing? Let me look. Are you looking for the right thing?" And I'm just like,
I can totally picture this in my head.
And I'm just like, I look at her. I'm just like, what? I did not even acknowledge the fact that I was getting yelled at for not being able to find garlic bread, and she just and I'm looking at her like, huh? And then she's like, what? I'm like, since when were you born in Boston? And then she was just like, what do you mean? Like, and then this was a run-on joke because like earlier, like a couple years before that, we were talking about baseball, and my uncle, he's a sports fan. He goes, hey mom, I have to edit that, but he's like, hey, what's your favorite sports team? And she's just like, favorite baseball? Favorite baseball? I don't even watch the baseball. And I'm just like, and like we all look at her like, what the heck? And then another time, like earlier, like when I was like getting into YouTube, watching Tobuscus, PewDiePie, and like all those Sky Does Minecraft and whatnot, and she was just like, "Oh wait, there's that funny video on the YouTube. Hey, put on the YouTube." I'm like, "What did you turn Italian? We're not even Italian." Seriously, and then my uncle, like he's a relatively cultured dude, but he's kind of reserved and just like is into everything. He's just like he's into all types of culture, so he's like, it's cool that he's half Mexican. The only thing that shows that he's Mexican is his last name. So
yeah, my family's pretty much the same. They're very whitewashed. My great grandma, who's still alive, I know it's like always people are always amazed by that. My great grandma,
like you have a very young family because you're born to a pretty young mom, and your grandma's pretty young, and you know, same thing with me. But like mine was just my parents were just a little bit older than yours, and my grandparents, yeah, like it's literally like just like by a few years gap. That's it.
Yeah,
I think like literally it's 4 years to be exact.
Something like that.
Yeah, because
but my great grandma is the only one that speaks Spanish. She didn't pass it on. My grandma. She's kind of like she's kind of culturally there, but like not really. And she's married to a white guy now, so like they're like barbecue on the 4th of July kind of people now, which is cool and all. I love it. But then my aunt,
but 4th of July burgers do hit different. Like there's two types of burgers that hit different, and it's always like in the weirdest way possible. That is elementary school birthday party burgers and 4th of July
specifically
burgers.
pool parties.
Specifically pool parties. Yeah, exactly. it's always you get some chips. Usually it's barbecue potato chips, a burger, and it's like just a plain cheeseburger. Maybe like they put like a piece of lettuce on it, but you just like usually you put either like ketchup on something, and then a Coke, which was like a canned Coke that's been sitting in a cooler for 4 hours,
Yep,
and the ice
that's
isn't
exactly
there.
what you're talking about.
Like, and then you sit down, you have it in a paper plate, and you're all talking. You know, you're slightly your hair is still wet because you're in the pool.
It's like dripping onto your
You're dripping
plate.
onto
yeah.
your burger and everything. Like you take it off and it has like drips and drops and whatnot, and has drips and drops and everything. You're eating it, and like literally when you finish, you like if you're feeling a little hungry, you might get seconds, but you debate it because you don't know if you want to jump into the pool automatically because we still believed in that don't go into the pool
30
until
minute
30
thing,
minutes
yeah.
after.
Yep.
Like we still all believe that, and then you're just like, wait a minute, and then you say screw it, just fold it in half, throw it in the trash can, and you jump into the pool again, and then you start burping in the pool a bunch because you had the Coke. And like,
Yeah.
literally, you can describe that to anyone who has gone to a pool party as a kid, and they will just like that. I know that exact feeling. I know.
Yeah.
That
They like
exact
remember the exact moment. Like.
Yeah, and for me, it was always when I was like at my dad, like all the cousins on my dad's side, because the cousins on my dad's side, they were pretty well off financially, so they were always hosting pool parties. They had a pool. They have a giant house. They had their house is actually really cool. I haven't seen them forever. Wait, I'm seeing them tomorrow. I just realized. Huh. But yeah. Anyway, besides that, but
Yeah, we're like getting really sidetracked now.
I know, right? What were we talking about originally?
Back to my aunts. So I have two aunts, and they're extremely different. I have they both have the exact same parents. You know, both like raised like basically the same way. But one of my aunts, extremely whitewashed, like extremely whitewashed. Like she went to university and she was in a sorority. And, like she was in ASB in high school. Like she's one of those kids. And then my other aunt is like extremely cultured. Like any opportunity she can get to become more cultured, she takes. And so like she hated high school. She didn't want to go to like a regular university. She became a nurse, but like she was like my best friend growing up. Which I'm pretty sure they both listen to this podcast. This is not like shots fired at either one of you guys, just so you know.
We are not picking sides. Everything's
yeah,
cool.
I'm not picking sides, even though if you know me, you know who my favorite aunt is. But
Sheesh. Okay.
like it's so funny because like one of my aunts is like they're total opposites. Like one of my aunts, like she's terrible with children. Like she wants nothing to do with them. Like if you were to put a baby like close to her, she's one of those. She's like, eh. And then the other aunt,
she like holds it.
She
like,
has a daughter.
Away.
Like yeah, and then like my aunt who like is I'm closer with. She like used to like change my diapers when I was little, and like I'd always hang out with her. My other aunt, nothing. She wanted nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing to do with it, which is funny to me. But and then my mom, extremely whitewashed. Which I don't know how that happened because both of her parents were Hispanic, but then yeah, I don't know how it happened to be honest. She's really whitewashed. She hates spicy food. She can't eat spicy food. She'll have like Taco Bell mild sauce and her tongue will get swollen.
I am a little bitch when it comes to spicy food, and I can take mild sauce like nothing. I just don't like how hot sauce tastes. But
my mom has like this weird addiction where like if I buy Takis, she'll be like, "Oh, let me have one. And I'll tell her like, "No, you can't. Like if you eat this, you will die. Like you cannot have this." Like, no, it's fine. Let me just have one, just one. So she eats the one. And then for the next 3 days, she's complaining. She's like, "Why'd you let me eat that? Why'd you?" By the way, this is probably where I get this from. Because my mom will be like, "Why'd you let me eat that? My tongue's still swollen. I can't eat that. My tongue's swollen." Like, it's so funny to me because like, I'll be like, "I told you so. I told you not to eat it." Like she eats one Taki, and she's done. She can't eat for like 3 days. Like she's like only drinking water because her tongue's swollen.
Okay, so that's apparently a genetic trait then.
What? Blaming it on the people.
Blaming it on everyone else. This man always, like, without a doubt, okay? I don't even know, like, I can't even bring up, or I can't remember the last time we did it because it's been a while, but, like, oh, I know which one it was. You got your wisdom teeth taken out and you started eating Takis, of all things. and
Mom, you didn't hear this. You didn't hear this.
You start eating Takis and you're like, "Hey guys, like we're on call because you know it's like 11 o'clock at night. You know we're not gonna be all hanging out at each other's houses. We're just on call. You know we have our cameras on, and he's just like, hey, I'm gonna eat some Takis, and like me and the other people in the car were like, no, why are you gonna do that's so stupid, you just got your wisdom teeth taken out, like what is wrong with you? And he's like, no, it's fine, and then we're like, no, and then he opens the bag, he's like, well, they're already open, and then he starts chomping down on these things. All right, 10 minutes later, he's like, this is terrible, this is absolutely terrible, why did you guys let me do this? And whenever he does that I always get so angry at him. I'm just like, I freaking told you so. What do you mean, why did I let you? I didn't let you. The only reason you did it is because you wanted to. You're such an idiot. Like, I always do.
I think the main reason I say that is because of the reactions I always get out of you guys.
Like, everyone, because, like, we have a Discord, and it's like mainly like 5 of us who are on call. One of us will just be like, because it's funny. One of us will just be like, you're an idiot, shut up. Another one will like get super serious and start like attacking him. And then there's me. And then there's Jordan. Then there's me. I am Jordan's, for some unknown reason, voice of freaking... What voice of reason? There we go. His random voice of reason when it comes to dumb decisions. And like, he'll just come to me and be like, hey Ozzy, should I do this? I'm like, are you a freaking idiot? Are you a freaking idiot? And... yeah, for real. Are you a freaking idiot? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm just like, and I break down every little thing. He's like, I think I'm still gonna do it. 3 days later, why did you let me do that? I'm like, I didn't let you do that. God damn it! I wasn't with you to stop you. That's always the thing I say. Like, I'm always like, I wasn't with you to stop you. Don't blame it on me.
It's like I once bought a plastic trumpet off of Amazon. Worst decision I've ever made. I tend to do stupid things like this. It makes for really great stories, but it's also terrible. I make some pretty stupid financial decisions. But
you're great with money.
I bought this plastic trumpet, and it was hilarious. It was like bright purple. It sounded like doggy doo doo. Like, it played horribly.
Booty cheeks.
Everyone thought it was funny. I used to like throw it up in the air and catch it and like play football with it, because why not? And I left it sitting out one time in the band room, and the drum line, just the percussion people that play drums and stuff, if you don't know, they kind of trashed it. Like, I think like someone like sat on it or something, and they started like playing soccer with it, and like I thought the thing was indestructible. Apparently it's not, but you know, if anyone's gonna destroy it, it's the drum line. So I found it, and I was like, damn shame, and I threw it away. And I blamed that one on I remember who I blamed that one on. Oh, I know. One of my best friends. I'll mention his name. I don't think he minds. His name's Logan. I blamed that one on him because yeah, I was on a call with him when I bought it, and I sent him the confirmation code on Snapchat. And he's like, "You're an idiot. You're an idiot." And I was like, "No, it'll be fine. It's funny." And then when I got it and I held it for the first time, I was like, "Why'd you let me buy this?" It's like, why?
And you had your two trumpet holding case with your Xeno, and you literally would carry it every day to school with you.
Oh yeah. And I have a trumpet for 2 trumpets, and I had my really nice professional like $3,000 trumpet, and then I had this like $170 plastic trumpet right next to it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. And then what is another thing? I'm just remembering how stupid some of the stuff you've done is.
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of stupid stuff. I don't know like how much we're allowed to talk about, because I feel like some of this stuff could maybe get me like cancel culture might come after me.
Let's not talk about that stuff, because you know, but because we don't want cancel culture coming after the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've just done some pretty stupid stuff and just blamed it on people. And like every time we're just like, "Are you kidding me?" And then you always like, you always end up like laughing right after we get all angry and shit.
I laugh a lot when I'm in trouble. Like, that's like a terrible habit of mine.
We're just like I remember like one time you did something really, really stupid, and we were all sitting in that little room in the band room, the side room. And we're all just sitting there like, you're an idiot. Like, what did you do? And you're like, I don't know, man. I don't understand why you guys let me do that. and we all freaking literally gang-banged you with freaking punches. You're like, like I was the person that like kicked my chair out of the way, and I was like, get over here.
I've gotten beat up a lot by you guys.
Specifically me.
Yeah, specifically.
I think there was a time when literally you stopped talking to me because I was beating you up so much.
Probably. There was that one time when we were like wrestling, I guess, and you like were about to break my arm.
Oh yeah, that
I
was
literally
funny.
sat there. I literally sat there for probably like 5 minutes before I tapped out. I was like, I'm not gonna tap. I'm not gonna tap out.
And then oh my, okay. So for those who need a little bit of context, I have done martial arts for a lot of my life. All right, I did it for like 7 years, and out of the 10 years of my life, I know it's not that much, but I'm a junior black belt in Taekwondo, and I'm a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu, which isn't very impressive when it comes to Jiu-Jitsu because it's a blue belt. But when it comes to Taekwondo, people are always impressed that I was like literally the belt closest to black belt that you can get without actually getting black belt. And then I decided to do swim for some reason. But I've been in martial arts for a while. I've done Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and Taekwondo. And
I took one karate lesson.
yeah. And
one class.
This man, he likes to make weird jokes about my mom sometimes, and it makes me really mad. And he's like, I think he made like just an inappropriate joke, and I was like, listen, man, if you make another one, I'm gonna break your arm. He's just like, oh, do you know who else I'm gonna be breaking? And then I was like, what? It's like, your mom's back. I was just like, okay, get over here, fucker. And so I put him in a headlock. I take him down to the ground, and he tries to start wrestling back, and I'm just like, okay, you're stupid. And I put him in an arm bar, which is a form of arm lock that puts a lot of pressure on your on your shoulder, and also on your elbow. And this man thinks he's gonna be a smart one and roll over on his front. All I have to do is roll over onto my front, and literally I'm using the floor as leverage. At that point I put my arms behind my back and I just lean up, and he's just like, ah, like he's in so much pain. And our friend Evan's just like, oh my god, what is wrong with you, Ryan? He goes back to watching TikTok. Like this was such a normal thing at that point that literally our friend Evan had no like wasn't freaked out at it at all. And then Evan's dad comes in, he's like, all right, Cobra Kai, let's get up there, let's chill out. And then Jordan's like like all in pain. He's just like, you literally could have broke my arm is numb right now, Ryan. I'm like, well, you shouldn't have made a joke about my mom, dude.
Okay.
He's just like,
to be fair, there's a lot of people that would have tapped out from the very second you put them in an arm bar, and I probably sat in that thing for like 5 minutes, like a solid 5 minutes. Like,
to be frank, I wasn't pulling on your arm that much. Your struggle is making it worse.
No, I know that. No. I know you weren't, and so that's why I was like, okay, maybe like because he's being nice and not like full sending, I can like wiggle my way out or something, which really was not. I don't know what I was thinking. It did not work to my advantage.
Is that you're on your back, and then you rolled to where your face was on the floor, and you're literally doing this and just ruining your arm, like like you're leaning the opposite direction of where your arm was getting cranked from the floor, and you were just like And then, like, I think you made another joke while we were on the floor again. And then that's when I was like, okay, come here. And then I actually started going hard, like, fuck.
Yeah, no, just like that's just like the type of person that I am. Like, I could be in the worst situation possible, and I'll do something to just elevate it to like the whole new level.
I think I was just like, okay, it's like, I was like, are you? And like, I think at that point, I think I only had you in a headlock, and I was like getting ready for, I think I either had you in an omoplata or going into an armbar. And you don't know those terms, but I do. Anyone who knows about jiu-jitsu and anything probably knows about that stuff too. And I was just like going around, and I was just like, are you gonna say anything? You're gonna keep saying stuff about my mom? He's just like, no. He's just like, I'm not gonna take orders from a guy with a small cock. And I was just like, okay, fucker. I was like, you little bitch. Like, what is wrong with you? Literally, I can ruin your entire life right now, and you're just like, small cock. Like, are you fucking kidding me? And you're just like,
man.
And then I put you in an armbar. I was fine, and then you were just like, The funny thing I get a kick out of is like whenever I'm like wrestling you or anything, or just like fucking around with you while you're trying to like escape my grasps, and you always make like really funny disgruntled noises. You're like. You sound like a chihuahua trying to escape a big man's grasps. It's hilarious. And by the way,
I'm relatively decent pain tolerance. So
by the way, like he's 6'1", I'm 5'9". Like there's a decent height difference when it comes to me. The only thing is that like I'm a decently built dude. He's a skinny little shit. Like that's it.
Yeah, I'm just a skinny Indian.
And so like he always ends up making me mad. Then I end up like wrestling him and putting him through a lot of pain. He's always like, ah.
Yeah.
I remember one time it was I think we were at Evan's house again. All this stuff always happens at Evan's house. You always piss me off at Evan's house. And at Evan's house, I think it was like nighttime, and you were just like really, really tired. And you were just making jokes, and I'm just like, "Are you kidding me, dude?" He's like, and you're just like, "What? What are you gonna do about it?" I'm like, "You know what I would do about it." And you're like, "Oh, Shorty," like, "Oh, Shorty's gonna say something." "Ooh, small cock," and I'm just like, "Are you, dude, serious?" And he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Oh, you're getting angry." And when he gets tired, he acts like he's high, which, like, what I would imagine him being high would be, like, and he's like always saying dumb jokes. He's just like, oh, and then he's just like, and then like he'll do something stupid, and like, whatever, and then I'll be like, Jordan, what are you doing? And he's like, tu madre, you know, like he'll make dumb jokes like that, and then we're just like, oh my god, shut, go to sleep. Like, just go take a nap. And then, but like, he wouldn't take a nap. And then he would just like laid on the floor, and he made a stupid joke to me. And then he ends up making me mad. I'm like, okay, that's it. And you're like, oh, what are you gonna do? And then he attacks me first. Like this half asleep dude who's on the floor, his legs aren't even moving. He just reaches up and tries to attack me. I'm like, okay. He pulls me down, and I'm like, he ends up being in a position where I have his own leg twisted up to the point where if I cranked his leg down, his own shin is like in this position to where it's crushing his calf. And I'm just like, are you gonna shut up? And he's just like, nah, fuck you. And I'm just like, are you gonna shut up now? He's like, nah. Like, he always makes those disgruntled voices. Oh. And then and then he ends up tapping out, and he just collapses on the floor. I'm just like, you shouldn't have done that. And he's just like, fuck you. I'm just like, and I just like tap his leg. He's like, ah.
I think I just love antagonizing you. I love antagonizing people in general, but like you specifically, I don't know why.
Maybe it's because like everyone else gets offended, and I just end up hurting you.
Yeah,
like I'm the only one who doesn't.
Like
he doesn't.
Reaction.
You don't, because I'm the only person who doesn't like. I guess I kind of do put up with the shit. Like, I'm the only person who doesn't put up with the shit to, like, a point where I just, like, say shut up. Like, I actually end up, like, taking a step way farther than anyone else would. So, like...
A lot of people just, like, tell me to shut up and get annoyed. But,
like a thing that, like...
You skip that step.
I skip that step and just go straight to violence. I just go straight to violence. Like, I have a punch list on my notes in my apps, and this man has literally made a deal where if it reaches 100... before like the next time I see him and I'm able to like deliver the punches and whatnot, that he will just pay me $100 because he pissed me off enough to where I have 100 punches left, and he's on like 10 I think right now.
Something like that.
Yeah, you haven't done anything too crazy lately. I love domestic friendship abuse. God damn it, Jordan. This was okay. 2 a.m. Not even like 1:30 actually. And you're just like, what if I get a bike? I'm just like, get a bike until like after you graduate college or something. Jordan's like, yeah, but I want one right now. I'm just like, oh my fuck, this is not gonna end well. And like, and he's just like, listen, man, I got this whole thing planned out. He goes over this whole plan, and I'm just like, I'm gonna be honest, it's a really cool plan. You got it pretty well planned out, but I think it's stupid. And you're just like, what? What do you mean it's stupid? It's literally planned out. Have it all. It's gonna work. It's gonna work perfectly. And he he's defending his thing and whatnot, and I'm just like, Jordan, you're an idiot. And he's just like, what do you mean? He's like, why do you need a bike? He's like, listen. He goes Buddhist on me, okay? He just like, why does anyone need anything? I don't need this iPhone. I don't need the box of cereal that I have that I'm gonna eat tomorrow morning. I don't need this 7-Eleven pizza that I'm wait. Now I don't even know what you were ordering. I think you were eating some like microwave taquitos or something. And he was like, I don't need these microwavable taquitos to nourish my system. Okay, I don't need anything. What I do is want. I want this bike. Okay, Ryan. I'm just like, are you seriously? And his girlfriend was on call, and she's like agreeing with me in this whole thing. She's just like, Jordan, you're an idiot. Like, what? Listen to this man, please. Listen to Ryan, and stop being an idiot, okay? And I'm just like, at least someone has some sense, like this guy. And then literally we argue until like 2:30 in the morning, and then he's just like, I'm just like, just sleep on it, okay? I'm tired. I have to go to sleep because I had like class in 5 hours, and then I go to sleep, and then later that night. Actually later that day, it was like 3:00. I hop on call because I'm gonna play some games with them, and he joins the call. He's like, Ryan, I got some post nut clarity, and I think you're right. And I was just like, I just left the call. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like literally, I argued with this man for an hour and a half just so he can just be like, yeah, you're right, you know. That's what happened.
Honda Grom.
Yeah, you still want it, but I think you're listening to what I told you to do instead of like at least a little bit.
Thing, I know if I bought one, my family would probably disown me. Unfortunately.
Why?
They just hate the idea of motorcycles, understandably, especially in California. People in California suck at driving, so it makes sense that they wouldn't be on a motorcycle.
Yeah,
I still want one really bad.
You know the average like accident rate for people who own motorcycles for their first year is like 99.8%. It's like insanely high.
Yeah, but that applies to pretty much everything though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And it's like the statistic people say that like, oh, majority of accidents that you get into are within like 10 miles of your home.
Oh yeah. Isn't like the reasoning behind that is because like people are too comfortable when it comes to driving around the place?
No, that's not even it. The reason for that is, think about it. How often do you go further than 10 miles from your home?
Oh wait, that's facts.
The grocery store is probably within 10 miles. The gas station within 10 miles. Your friend's house probably within 10 miles. School within 10 miles. Work probably within 10 miles. Majority of your daily driving, 90% of your driving is within 10 miles of your house, probably within a 10-mile radius. So that's why. That's why that's a thing, because you do most of your driving within a 10-mile radius of your house. Your kid's daycare is probably right down the street from your house.
Kids' elementary school, probably a couple miles away from your house.
Exactly. Like the grocery store's closed.
That's true.
Whatever it is you do, like the gym that you go to, probably within 10-mile radius of your house.
Yep. Speaking of like stupid drivers, I told you about that time where, like, I was driving with my dad and literally a Prius. No, like, okay, so I was driving, right? And, you know, for those of you who don't know, I am incompetent and am a 17-year-old who only has a permit, okay? And it's not entirely my fault, okay? It's not because I'm, like, incompetent and decided not to get my appointment and whatnot. It's because of COVID, okay? COVID-19 happened. I wasn't able to schedule an appointment, and literally everything decided to, like, open up without a trace of anyone knowing anything. But all of a sudden, everyone knew except for me, all right? And so I'm driving with my dad. Or I'm going home because I was at his house. We had spaghetti because that's the only thing we eat when we're together. It's always spaghetti. And I'm driving. I'm merging onto the freeway, and you know I'm following all the rules. You know, I'm checking, making sure a guy is speeding up toward me. I let him pass. I check my blind spot. No one's there. Not a single person. All right. I'm like, all right, cool. And so I start to merge into the lane. All of a sudden, Person slams on their horn. Honk! I'm just like, what? And I go back into the lane and go back into the merging lane. I'm just like, what the heck? A Prius right behind me. Just swerving into the lane. All right. Honks at me. And literally within a matter of 3 minutes, same thing happens to like 3 different people trying to merge into different lanes because this person was swerving in and out of traffic. Probably going like 20, 30 over the speed limit, which is surprising considering it's a freaking Prius. You know, maybe they hopped out the freaking hybrid and just decided to replace everything with turbochargers. But like, but yeah, I was like, what the heck? And of course it's a Prius. Of all things, it's a Prius.
I think the only people worse than Prius owners are Tesla owners.
But I feel like with Tesla owners, it's like kind of 50-50.
I don't know, man. I feel like every Tesla owner I run into is kind of a dick. And they drive reckless because they know their car will get them out of any accident. They're like, oh yeah, my car will actually swerve out of the way if I were to drive towards a wall. So let me show you by driving straight towards a wall. Like that's how they drive on the daily. Yeah, they like swerve in and out in traffic because they're like, oh, if someone, they're like, oh, I'm gonna tailgate this person because if they slam their brakes, Tesla will predict it because Tesla can predict the future. Like, dude, you're trusting the computer way too much.
You know, David Dobrik literally does not trust his car doing all the automated stuff in it. Like the only thing that he does is like kind of the autonomous mode when he's like filming people in his back seat, but usually he's like looking at the road and like filming with one hand. But
yeah. Well, I mean, it's meant to be like a supplement to normal driving. It's not supposed to be
completely relied on. Yeah.
Yeah.
But literally, like he told about a story. He told a story like on, I don't know if it was on his podcast or if it was on his YouTube channel, or I think it was actually a GQ like story or whatever the heck. But he was at a grocery store, and you know how Teslas have that thing where if you are waiting at the grocery store and you press a button on the keys, it comes and picks you up at the front.
Oh yeah, the summon feature. That's actually pretty cool.
It's cool. It hit a dude.
Oh.
like it wasn't anything crazy. But the dude slapped his hand on the door and he realized, oh no, there's no one in here. So he ran away from the car.
I've been hit by a car once. I think I might have told you this story.
You've never told me you've been hit by a car?
Yes, this was at school actually.
You what?
So at our school, there's a long curve that's like a drop off. This isn't the teacher lot. It's like a long curve, and this is supposed to be like the bus where the buses drop people off. And in the mornings, it's open for parents to drop off their kids and stuff. So at the end of it, where it meets back to the main road, there's a stop sign and there's a crosswalk. So there's a car coming. They're coming, and I'm walking because they have a stop sign. I'm pedestrian, so I'm walking, and this lady's she rolls through the stop, and she's like, I don't know what she was on her phone or what, but she hits me, and not hard. Like it's like literally she's probably going like 3 or 4 miles per hour, and she bumps into me, and I hit her car. I slammed on the hood, and I was like, what is wrong with you? You just hit me in the parking lot of a school. Like I'm a student and you hit me in the parking lot of the school. And it's like this older Asian lady, and she was all frantic and stuff. And I was like, you just ran a stop sign and hit me. There's some serious consequences that could come with that.
Have I ever told you about the time when I was skating over to where was I? It was I was going over to the Starbucks, but it was before the new one opened up, so it was the one over by the Denny's.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so if any of you live in the Chino Hills area, which most of our viewership currently might maybe does, because we obviously are from Chino Hills, most of our friends are from Chino Hills. And there is, right next to the high school, there is a group of little shops. There's a Wendy's, a churro place, a Seven Leaves, and a Starbucks, along with among other things. But before that was there, it was just a giant empty dirt lot. And down the road, a couple more miles, or like a mile more, it was there was a Starbucks there. And so I was going over to the Starbucks because I just got like my allowance or something, or I got like, I think I saved up because I got like $5 a week for taking out the trash. I have no clue why my grandpa, that was a ripoff from my grandpa, but I got like $5 a week for taking out the trash. I saved for 3 weeks, so I had $15. So I was like, oh, I'm a slurp good tonight. I'm getting me a venti. And I was all excited, So I get my blue Arrowhead Science Camp hoodie on. I put on my black pants. I put on my Vans, and I grab my skateboard, and I'm going down, and I'm going decently fast. And then there's a part where I have to cross a major like intersection, and it's 4-way, but I press the button, and I didn't want to like walk across, because I felt like if I did, I wasn't looking cool. So I went on my skateboard and I started going, right? Some white old Ford Fusion just and then like stops right in front of me, literally like just before, and I slam into their car. I just go poof, and they freaking fly backwards. And I'm just like, and like the person, it was like some like late 30s Mexican dude, and he's like, hey, what you doing? Like, don't you look in front of me? I'm like, don't you look at the line? And I'm 12 years old at the time, okay? So I have like a high-pitched voice. I'm like, don't you look at the line? He's like, shouldn't you be looking in front of you, kid? I'm just like, listen, if you're going 40 miles an hour into a stop, how the hell am I gonna freaking find out that you're gonna be stopping right where I'm about to go? From my understanding, I was just gonna be going to the sidewalk. He's like, I still think you should have been looking. I'm just like, can you shut up, dumbass? Like, my 12-year-old self, me being the snarky little shit that I was, called this man a dumbass in the middle of the goddamn road while I'm still on the floor, on my ass, just like pointing at him. And he's like, hey, if you're gonna be disrespectful, I'm not gonna take you seriously. I'm like, I'm not taking you seriously, and I'm 12. Like, I'm just like yelling at this man. He's like, oh, whatever. He rolls up his window. I kick his tire, then leave. He's like, hey, what'd you do that for? I'm like, for being an idiot. And I just kept walking. And I think this man just like, he drove past me because he was turning right, and like I was going where his car was going. I think he like rolled down his window and yelled out, don't disrespect your elders. I'm like, whatever. and so like that was so funny. So literally, like, whenever I cross that intersection, it always reminds me of that. And one time it almost happened again, and it was a white Ford Fusion, like one of those like 2013 ones with like the chrome grill on the front. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, like one of those. And again, they almost hit me.
Oh my god!
But like,
luck with that.
Like, seriously, it's the same one. It's the, like, when you're going down Butterfield and you're turning right, it's that one. Like, that street. Yeah. So, like, when you turn right to go down to that little area, and it's always that, and it's always when they're about to turn right. They always, like, are going, like, 50 miles an hour, and then, like, they don't slow down to, like, the last 10 feet, and they just slam on their brakes. Same thing happens. Like, it's a, like, middle-aged Asian lady. And then I swerve out of the way because I was on my bike this time. And I swerve out of the way, and I'm just like, come on. And she's like, I'm so sorry. She's like waving her hands at me. I'm just like, it's fine. I'm not dead. I didn't slam into your car. I guarantee you, since I had a bike, it would have been a lot worse. But you're fine. You okay? You're okay. And then she rolls her and she's like, I'm so saddy. I'm just like, okay, it's all good.
I would have been like, hey, $20 and I won't tell anyone.
You would have done that. But like, I would have slapped you if I was with you. It would have happened, and then I would have been like, God dang it, they almost hit us again. And then you would have been like, hey, $20 and won't tell anyone. I'm like, shut up.
Oh, man. What is this episode about?
I have topic? No, we kind of just talked, We didn't really...
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, I know, right?
We're bouncing all over the place, but it's all good.
We are.
I'm enjoying the vibe tonight.
My ADD is kind of kicking in, by the way, I'm not clinically diagnosed for ADD or ADHD. I have a very fast-paced moving brain, as you guys can probably tell. Like in the mornings and like during school and whatnot, I'm like this all the time. But like, you know, at night when I'm like well rested and, you know, took my 3 naps in the day because I only slept 2 hours the previous night, I end up like being pretty sporadic. And Jordan knows this very well, considering my very spontaneous attitude when it comes to making plans. Which
Yeah.
90%, which actually, as you guys know from the previous episodes, the reason why we became friends, because literally we would be just pulling out of the school to go to my house, and I'll just be like, Rubio's, and you're just like, fuck it, let's go.
I think I remember like you used to do this a lot. Like so when you pull out of the driveway, you turn right to go to your house, and you turn left to go to literally anywhere else. And like I'd always be pulling out, and as I'm turning right, this man would go, "We should go get food." And I'm like, "Bro, that's the opposite direction that I just turned." So I have to like go down the street and turn around and go wherever we're planning on going. But every time, without fail, you'd probably pull something like that, which I absolutely hate. One of my best friends, I used to give her a lot of rides back in high school, and she gave the worst directions. She's one of those people where as you're in the intersection, she'd be like, "You turn it right there." Like she's looking down the intersection and pointing out the window going, "Yeah, that's the street where you turn." Like I'm in the far left lane, like heading straight. Like how am I supposed to turn right here? Like where's your logic?
Dude, we have this friend, you know, me and Jordan, he's kind of known. I don't want to mention his name or anything, but
I already know who you're talking about.
we have this, probably, you know, me and you like to jokingly flirt with him a lot, and it makes him really uncomfortable. And it's really cute because he's like, "Oh, stop it," because it looks like he's enjoying it, but he gets like really flustered. But anytime, like anytime that like we're taking him anywhere, like if Jordan's in the car with me, he's like, "Ryan, get into the front seat now." Because he like whenever he's like, "All right, you're giving me directions, all right, dude," and he's like, "Okay, yeah," and then like 3 stop signs, and he's like, "Hey, where am I supposed to turn right?" You're like, and he looks at his phone, he's like, "Oh, that was like 3 turns ago." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"How?" And then like, and then there's me, and like I'll tell him like 15 miles beforehand, and then like I'll forget to remind him or something, and then I'll pass by it, and I look at it, and I'm just like, "Where the fuck are you going?" And you're just like, he's like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "You're supposed to turn right there." He's like, "God damn it, Ryan, why didn't you remind me?"
It's only happened a couple times, but
It's
I
only
think out of all of our friends, you're probably my favorite co-pilot because one, you pick good music. Two, which by the way, I know it's probably it's very controversial. Okay, super controversial, but I actually let the person sitting in the passenger seat pick the music. I know people think like, "Oh, I'm the driver, I pick the music," but I like to have my co-pilot. I want to drive. They pick the music. They give me directions. Like, they do all that stuff. So you pick really good music for one, and two, like you give decent like directions. You'll tell me ahead of time, like, "Oh yeah, not this light, but the next one you're gonna turn right," and I have time to get over. I have time to turn, whatever. But like every other, I think it's because like,
Well, because you're my
I
main
don't even know
ride
what the
literally
reason
everywhere.
is. Yeah, I feel like you just had a lot of practice.
And also like I've been co-pilot with my mom because I have a single mom. And me and you actually both have single mom. I had single moms for like a while. But I've had a single mom ever since I was very very young. So like literally I would be her co-pilot everywhere, and
Yeah,
so like I would always get handed the directions and have to read it out, and like she told me like when to time it, and like my grandpa would always yell at me if I got it wrong. If I was with him, he was just like, "Pooch." My grandpa calls me Pooch for some reason. I have no clue why. It's like from a movie with like Chris Evans that like literally there's a guy with a nickname Pooch, and it mentioned it once, and he remembers that specific thing. So he calls me Poochie, like the dog, like a Poochie dog. Like so he, when I was little, he would call me 2 things. He would call me papas and Poochie. And my papas is like potatoes. And my aunt got mad
I
at that.
love
He's
potatoes.
like my aunt got mad at that, and she's like, "He's not a potato. He's small. He's a tater tot." And that spawned my nickname with my aunt, so she called me Tater Tot. And after she started calling me Tater Tot, my grandpa just kept calling me Poochie. And so, you know, he just calls me Pooch or Poochie, or yeah, so like every single time he'll like when I'm upstairs like on my computer doing schoolwork, he'll just be like, "Hey Pooch, come get some food." And I'll be like, "Okay, I'm coming." Like, so he always he was like, "Hey Pooch, you wasn't I supposed to turn there? I was like, yeah, I told you earlier. He's like, well, you have to remind me. I was like, okay, when do I remind you? He's like just before I'm about to turn. I'm like, but you're the one who's supposed to be looking at the road. I look at the paper, and I'm like 8 years old at the time, so I'm just like chilling there. I'm like literally holding like, because like I didn't have a smartphone. I think I had a phone, but it was like a flip phone, and like I still had like minutes and whatnot. And like literally like they gave me like the whole printed out sheet and everything with like a map and everything from my Google Maps on his computer, and like I would have to like flip through, figure out where we were and whatnot, and it's just like I was like, where did we just turn at? He's like, we just turned at Turner Street, and I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, you were supposed to make a left earlier. He's like, where was earlier? Like 3 turns ago. You know, just be freaking. He's like, darn it, Pooch. And so like I guess like all that, just constantly being a co-pilot, kind of helped me out with that. So,
but I think like most of my friends are really bad at directions, so I'll just play them through the speakers, like GPS through the speakers most of the time. But
like when you're with me and you are always talking, and so we always end up yelling at Siri because she's like, we're like, shut up, bitch! Like no one cares about what you're saying. Like,
I hate playing it through the speakers because if I'm listening to music, it cuts off the music.
Yeah,
that's why I don't like it. But
I hate always when like the good part comes up, like the beats part. I'm like, oh, and then all of a sudden he's like, make sure you take a left in 0.5 miles, and we're like, damn it.
Yeah, it's like really. But
the beat was about to drop.
I'm like the only. Well, for a while, I was the only one in our friend group that drove.
Yeah,
so I would give rides to a lot of people.
You're significantly older than like all of us, though, because you're like you're a grade higher than most of us, and then you're also like on the older side of your grade too.
Yeah, yeah. So, no, I turned 18 during the first semester of school, so everyone was always like, "Whoa, you're 18 already? Like you can pay taxes?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Whoa, bro. You can go to big boy jail.
However, the biggest flex was that I could sign myself out of school. So I used to ditch class a lot. But like when I turned 18, instead of ditching class, I would sign myself out for a doctor's appointment, so that I wouldn't get marked as absent.
I would always get so angry when you would just like come back, like, because when you turned 18, like all our food trips would like lower down significantly, because like you would be late to class, you're like, screw it, I'm just gonna go to a doctor's appointment, and then you would come back with like some food, and I'll be like, god damn it, I wanted to go get food later on.
Yeah, I like that was a big thing I used to do. Super bad habit. If you're still in school, do not do this because it's terrible. But I used to have a habit of like, if I was gonna be late for class, then I might as well just not show up to the class. Terrible mindset. Like if I'd wake up late, like if I were to wake up late and I knew that like, oh, even if I literally leave right this second, I'm gonna be late, then I would take my sweet time. Like I would take a long hot shower, like I'd be like ironing my clothes, and I could like drive through a Jack in the Box and get me some food, and then pull up at like second period.
We would just
with,
be
a burrito.
we would just be like chilling, you know, and like because we would wait outside the band room, wait for our band director to show up, and then we would just chill inside the band room until like the bell rang and whatnot. And so we would just be like chilling outside, and all of a sudden we look at our like clocks, and we're like, oh shoot, it's almost time for school. Wait, where's Jordan? And we call him, and you're like, listen, I overslept. And you're like, god damn it. And then all of a sudden, like, we think that he's like, I'm hurrying up right now. Okay, I'm hurrying up. And then all of a sudden, like, he shows up, you know, his freaking clothes are like freshly ironed, hair's completely done perfectly. Like, he looked better like when on days he was late than days that he wasn't. The days that he showed up on time, like he would show up like with a what is it? I don't even, like a coffee in hand, some Jack in a Box breakfast. You know, he would just be showing up eating a hash brown. And we'd be like, really? He's just like, what? He's like, what? I was like, I just took my time. That's it. I was like, you said you're hurrying. He's like, what? Well, I hurried while taking my time.
Yeah, that was terrible. I probably had like 20 absences to first period.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's stay in school, kids.
Yeah, I mean, you graduated.
I stayed in school.
You graduated.
I graduated barely, but I graduated, and now I'm at community college.
Well, you did get into your dream school though.
I did.
But you didn't go.
I didn't go because I'm a simp. Um, remember, bitches ain't shit. Don't stay. Don't do anything for a girl ever, ever. I said no to
You
my
like,
dream school because I wanted to stay home for a girl, and then we broke up.
and now
So
whenever
yeah.
someone asks him, "Oh, you got into your dream school? Why are you going to this school then?" Oh, for financial reasons.
No, okay.
Every
To be
time.
fair,
To be
I'm
fair,
broke.
you do come from like a low income household and everything, and that school was really expensive, especially
Like 30,000 a semester, something like that.
buy a new car each semester. Jesus.
Yeah, for real. School's expensive. College is such a ripoff, but you have to go to college, so
Yeah, Mandaksena.
it's actually like inflation. You know that?
Really?
Yeah. It's like the same concept of inflation. Where, like if you print more money, then the value of the money drops. Well, because schools have been pushing college for so long, so many people have degrees now that the value of degrees have dropped. Which is why now they say that having a bachelor's is the new having a high school diploma.
Yeah, I
And if you
haven't.
want to be competitive, you
It's
have to have a master's.
yeah, I've noticed a lot more people nowadays have master's degrees. Cause like I remember like back like when I was in like elementary school and cause I would talk. I was one of those kids who would feel more comfortable talking to adults than kids my age because kids my age were weird. So I'd be talking to them. They're like, "Oh, so what do you want to do when you grow up?" I'm like, "I want to be a mechanic." Like I think at the time I said I wanted to be a lawyer because I was really good at arguing, and my mom hated it. and so like I would say, "Oh, I want to be a lawyer," and they're like, "Oh," it's like, "Oh wow, yeah." I remember back in the day, like, "Oh, I have my bachelor's in law from like I think the only schools that I knew were like UCLA and USC, and because my grandparents hated USC because my grandpa went to UCLA." Um, and yeah, fun fact: my grandpa went to UCLA. I don't think I told you that.
That's actually pretty dope.
Yeah, and then like it's so funny. I just think my grandparents like are so like really polar opposites because my grandpa was like one of those kids who like everything came naturally for him. Like got perfect scores on his driver's test. Got through school without a hitch. Um, um, like perfect score in his permit, perfect score in his driving, like A's and B's throughout all of high school, got into UCLA, no issue. But again, that was in like the 1960s, 70s around that time. And my grandma had to take her driver's test twice. Um, failed her permit test 2 times in a row, almost had to retake driver's ed again. Was one of those girls who like kind of like wanted to go out and party and whatnot instead of doing homework.
Your
But then
grandma does seem like a party animal. I'll be honest.
she's had her share of she's told she hasn't told me stories, but I've eavesdropped on people like when she's hung out with people that she's hung out with on like there's one story I heard like she was talking about how her and her friends were like going camping and right next to their campsite was like the Mongols campsite. And like every once in a while a Mongol would come up to them and try to hit on them, and like one of her friends went over and she came back like not in a sober headspace. And she was like and then they left and went back to Monterey Park. And
Sounds like
it's
good
so
time.
funny because like she's my grandpa. He makes a decent amount of money, they have they have a very comfortable living, and my grandma has adjusted to that a lot, and she does not like to admit it. Because every single time she tries to pick a fight with someone, she ends up like she'll be all nice and everything, and then all of a sudden she's like, fuck you, like she'll like start like cussing them out and whatnot, and then like they end up getting back, and then she gets scared. My grandma's someone who, she will, if she isn't confronted, she will do like some pretty, she'll do some pretty effed stuff. Like she like has like some lady kicked our rim and she keyed their car really,
Oh my
really
God.
bad. And then
Terrible.
she was like, Ryan, get in the car now. Like I think like they almost, I remember what happened. So we went to like Foods for Less. All right, we always my grandparents are like fiends when it comes to like deals and coupons at grocery stores. So
Yeah.
like they get like their catalogs every week for like what's on sale, what coupons to use, what to buy and whatnot, and they like religiously go and look through them. And so I was like I was like 11 or 12, still in elementary school at this time, right? And so, I wanted to stay home and play Minecraft Xbox Edition with my friends, but, she was like, you have to get out of the house, so you're going to come with me to Foods for Less. I'll buy you some Cocoa Puffs. And Cocoa Puffs was always the thing that I'll be like, all right, bet. And it was either Cocoa Puffs or Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And she was like, come on, I'll buy you some Cinnamon Toast Crunch or some Cocoa Puffs or like a Kit Kat or something. And I'll be, all right, fine, I'll go. And so we go to Foods for Less. I'm carrying the watermelon because I'm thinking I'm a big strong boy, and so I put the watermelon in the car. We pack up everything, and I'm opening up the door, and some car zooms into the spot right next to us. I slam the car door, and I like move toward the car, and my grandma sees this, and she's like, takes her off. She's like, "Hey, why did you zoom in? You almost hit my grandson. Like, you should probably be more careful in time." And this fat old white lady just says, "Fuck you" to my grandma and kicks the rim of our car. And me being all aggressive me, I call her a pansy and flip her off. And my grandma necks me for it. But she's like, "Hey, don't do that." And then she walks away, she watches her walk into the place. She grabs her keys, circles. I'm like, oh my god. Like, I've never seen a key job that bad. And like, the lady was in the car, and she's like, "Okay, get in the car now. Go, hurry up. And like, no one's looking. I think one lady, one mid-20s person was just like staring as they were pushing their cart to their car. Like, I was like, oh my god, we're going to jail. Like, I like the first thing I thought was like, we're going to jail. That's it. Like, I can't come back from this. I'm going to juvie. Like, that's it. Like, I called her a pansy and flipped her off, man. I was an accomplice. And then and then she's all cussing that that old lady out in her car and everything. So like, my grandma's like, she has old aspects from like the hood aspect of her still. Yeah. Even though Monterey Park got overran by the Asian community, and like, I don't even know, I don't know, like 10 years ago, maybe like 15 years ago, in like 2005, 2006. Because I remember one day my grandma went in, and she was just like, there is a lot of Asian grocery stores now. I have not seen this many. Because she liked to go down there and like visit some of her friends, and like all of her friends ended up moving out once that whole group moved into that area, and now they like live everywhere, like they have to travel all over. But yeah, my grandma is kind of a savage, and it's really funny because she always like likes to threaten me sometimes, and she like, and like when I was little I would be like, don't do it because it hurts. And now like I'm a solid 5 inches taller than her. I weigh like a solid 100 pounds heavier than her. And she's just like, oh, she's like, if you say that one more time, I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm just like, okay, you can try. And she's like, if you do anything, I'm just gonna call the police on you. I'm just like, did I say I was gonna fight back? And she's just like, what do you mean? I'm just like, I'm saying you can try to beat me up. It's not going to happen because your punches don't mean anything to me. Like, but yeah, it's really funny.
Going back to the whole king the car thing, when I was in Vegas this past weekend, I'm walking to my car, and we're in the parking structure, and this car is trying to park, and they're backing up to like they tried to pull into the spot. We're at too steep of an angle, so they start backing up to like adjust, and they hit a parked car, like hit the car, and I'm like, are you serious? They really just do that? And there's a girl like in the car next to me, and she rolls down her window. She's like, did you just see that? And I was like, yeah, I did. I was like, what is happening? So then these people, then they tried to pull into the spot. Now they're going forward, and as they're going forward, the car parked in the spot next to where they were trying to park. They rubbed into, like, they hit it. They hit another car. and you can hear it rubbing. Like you hear the initial like hit, and then you hear it like rub. It's like, and you're just like, oh my god, like that is not good. So they get into the spot, and so I'm waiting. I'm like, they better leave a note. Like I'm waiting to see if they leave a note. So they get out of the car, and like it's like these two girls, of course, and one of them has a note in her hand, and they walk over to the car, and they look at the car, the first car they hit, and the girl's like, oh, it doesn't look that bad, and they walk away.
God
And I'm
damn
like,
it.
are you kidding me? So I was gonna wait for them to leave and then like take a picture of their license plate and then like leave my phone number on the person's car and be like, I've got a picture of the license plate or whatever. Um, but so then I'm waiting, um, and um, the girls are like standing outside of the car and they notice that I'm waiting. I think because they come over to me like, are you waiting for us? And I was like, oh no. I was like, you guys are good. But then they were waiting still, and then I got a text from Domino's that was like, "Your order's ready." So like, okay, I gotta go. So I don't know what happened after that, because I went to go pick up my Domino's, but that like blew my mind. Like, how does someone hit two parked cars? Like,
That's funny.
oh,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, man. And everyone, that's on correct driving, not terrible driving. Thank you for listening to the Moderation Podcast. My name's Ryan Osborne. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Spotify. Anything that you guys are listening to us on. I know we're listening. We're up on Google Podcast, Outcast, Anchor, and a bunch of other stuff. We're on 6 platforms. I think I should probably write all those down. Make sure you guys follow us on that on whatever platform you're using. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, thank you for listening. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I'm not gonna tell you guys to hit the bell button yet. We're not that big, but if you really do want to, that'd be great. Thank you very much, guys. I'm Ryan Osborne. This is my co-host Jordan Jesudas. Thanks for listening. Deuces.